Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and realizing that the tap water for your entire country has just been shut off.
Right. And not from a natural drought or like
Mhm.
a broken pipe, but from a targeted drone strike.
Exactly. Today, we are looking at how a war in the Middle East has suddenly turned normal water pipes and plants into a massive weapon.
It is incredible. I mean, it really breaks the idea that global events just happen in isolation.
Yeah, everything is connected.
Exactly. What starts as a local military conflict instantly becomes a global energy crisis.
Yeah.
And then that triggers an inflation crisis.
Which then creates this huge blind spot that speeds up the global technology race.
Yes. The shockwaves affect absolutely everything.
Well, welcome to your custom-tailored deep dive. We have pulled together a really fascinating stack of recent reporting from The Economist.
Specifically, we are looking at articles from the week of March 28th to April 3rd, 2026.
Right. And our mission today is to understand a world that is experiencing a massive, connected shock.
A system shock.
Yeah. By the end of our conversation, you will understand why a war in the Gulf is actually helping China's sci-fi tech dreams.
You will also see why drinking water is suddenly a huge strategic weakness for entire nations.
And finally, why sitting down for a quick game of mahjong might be exactly what your brain needs to handle all this stressful news.
The landscape we are looking at today is completely defined by crisis. And, to understand the shockwaves, you have to look closely at the center of the earthquake.
Okay, let's unpack this center. The core conflict between America, Israel, and Iran really started on February 28th, 2026.
Right. And if you look at a traditional military scorecard, the state of Iran has taken massive damage.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we are talking about the death of their supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei.
Wow.
Yeah. And they have lost many top-level officials. Plus, their air defense systems are almost completely destroyed.
So wait, by any normal logic, the government should have collapsed by now.
Exactly. They should have.
But the reports show a real paradox. Iran is not only surviving, they're actually dictating the economic terms of this whole conflict.
And that paradox is the core of asymmetric warfare.
Asymmetric warfare, which basically means fighting a much bigger power in unusual ways, right?
Right. When a superpower uses overwhelming force on a centralized government, it usually shatters.
Hmm.
But the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC,
Yeah, the RJC?
they basically mutated under the pressure. After losing their top leaders, they didn't fall apart. They decentralized.
Meaning they spread out.
Yes, they turned into this dark, opaque network of independent operating cells.
Which means the old military strategy of, cutting off the head of the snake completely fails.
Exactly. You cannot cut the head off an enemy that has learned to survive without a central brain.
That makes sense.
And that survival skill allows them to use their biggest point of leverage, the Strait of Hormuz.
Right, that narrow waterway.
Yes. By threatening that specific maritime corridor, Iran has effectively blocked 1/5 of the entire global supply of oil and liquid natural gas.
Wow. 1/5 of the world's supply.
Right. They do not need to win battles in the sky. They just need to keep enough of a threat going to stop commercial ships from passing through that bottleneck.
This brings us to the diplomacy side of things, which is just as fascinating.
Oh, it really is.
The articles detail Donald Trump's weekend ultimatum, and the terms were very clear.
He said, reopen the strait by the time the financial markets open on Monday morning.
Right. Or face the complete bombing of Iran's domestic power plants.
But Iran didn't just ignore the threat. They used the diplomatic channels as a weapon, too.
Yeah, they ghosted Trump's intermediary, Mr. Witkoff. They just said they didn't trust him.
And they publicly stated they would only speak with Vice President J.D. Vance.
Which is such a specific demand.
It is a masterclass in psychological leverage. By choosing exactly who they will and will not talk to, Iran's leaders are showing they are not a defeated nation begging for a deal.
They are stalling on purpose.
Exactly. And because they control 20% of global energy,
Yeah.
every single day they delay creates huge political pressure inside the United States.
Plus, they're holding a massive wild card, right?
Yes. 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium buried under the rubble of their facilities.
It really paints a vivid picture of this asymmetric strategy. I mean, it is like watching a boxer who has taken 20 huge hits to the head.
Right.
He is totally battered, he is bleeding, but he's still controlling the whole match. because he is standing squarely on his opponent's oxygen hose.
That is a great way to put it. And the oxygen hose is the global economy.
Yeah.
For a smaller regime, just surviving the first attacks from a superpower while choking global trade, that is their victory condition.
But stepping on that oxygen hose isn't just a military move far away in the desert.
No, not at
The
all.
blowback is instant. It is tearing through the global economy right now, hitting people's wallets. The ripple effects are just huge.
They are. Oil prices have swung so wildly.
Hmm.
They started around $60 a barrel at the beginning of the year.
And now,
Now they are jumping up around $100.
which means average petrol prices hit $4 a gallon, up from $3.
And those high prices at the gas pump are just the start of a much deeper economic crisis.
Because it hits the fragile make its first, right?
Exactly. We are seeing countries really struggle. The Philippines, for example, had to declare a national energy emergency.
Oh, wow. An entire country in an energy emergency.
Yeah, their economy just cannot handle that kind of violent price shock without risking a total system failure.
And then there is inflation.
Right, inflation had finally settled down near 2%, but now it is rebounding fast.
Which puts governments in a really tough spot. I mean, the political instinct for any leader is to step in and subsidize the pain, to pay for the gas so voters aren't angry.
Yes, but The Economist makes a very strong case against those energy bailouts.
Why is that? It sounds helpful for normal people.
Well, because politically popular moves are often terrible for the economy in the long run.
Okay, how so?
When a government artificially lowers the price of energy for people by using taxpayer debt, they break the market.
Because the high prices are supposed to be a signal.
Right. High prices act like an alarm bell. They tell society to use less energy.
Ah, I see.
If the government pays the difference, people keep using the same amount of energy. The shortage gets worse, and the government takes on massive debt that ruins their currency.
So you are basically taking painkillers while ignoring the broken bone and going bankrupt to buy the pill.
Exactly. That is exactly it.
Wait, so instead of just worrying about the price of gas to drive to work, the reporting highlights another physical vulnerability.
Yes.
The water threat.
Right. We are looking at entire nations potentially losing their drinking water overnight.
Yes. If we connect this to the bigger picture, water is becoming as crucial a strategic commodity as oil.
Because of the geography of the Gulf.
Right.
Exactly. You have rapidly growing modern populations living in one of the driest climates on Earth.
So they completely depend on coastal desalination plants, plants that take salt out of ocean water.
Right. And the numbers in the research are terrifying.
I saw that. Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar rely on these coastal plants for 90% of their drinking water.
90%. And Saudi Arabia relies on them for 70%.
Massive. And these are huge industrial plants sitting right on the beach.
Which makes them incredibly easy targets for Iranian drones.
Wow. So elevating water to a geopolitical target entirely flips the script.
It does. If an enemy can threaten the drinking water of millions of civilians, they do not even need to fight a traditional army.
It makes it really hard for Saudi Arabia and the U.S. to attack.
Exactly. You cannot launch a big offensive if the counterattack leaves your allies dying of thirst in 3 days.
It is basically a geopolitical hostage situation. But the hostage is the basic biological need of an entire nation.
Right. The vulnerability of those water plants changes all the rules.
And managing this crazy water and oil crisis creates an enormous blind spot for the West.
It really does. While the U.S. and Europe are spending all their time, money, and military focus defending these water pipes and oil routes in the Gulf,
Right.
that distraction is creating a massive power vacuum in the rest of the world. And China is aggressively sprinting to fill it.
So we are seeing a massive shift in the global tech race.
Yes. While the West is focused on stabilizing crude oil, China just adopted its 15th five-year plan for economic development.
And the goals in this plan read almost like a tech billionaire's fever dream.
They really do. They are pushing massive government money into flying taxis.
Flying taxis, wow.
Yeah. And commercial fusion power, humanoid robots.
And didn't the report mention 6G networks designed to plug directly into people's brains?
Yes, brain-computer interfaces.
Yeah.
What is critical to understand about China right now is the role of the state.
How so?
Well, the government is fiercely gathering top AI talent and funding research. But at the same time, they control the industry heavily.
So it is not a free market.
No. They use strict rules to make sure all this tech progress serves the Communist Party's strategic goals. They don't just care about commercial profit.
Right. They are trying to build what they call new quality productive forces.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? You look at the chessboard. The U.S. is bogged down in the Middle East. China is building a state-sponsored sci-fi revolution.
And then you look at Europe.
Right. And according to the data, Europe is in a state of total panic.
Absolute panic. Out of the world's top 50 tech firms, Europe only has 3.
Just 3. That is amazing.
And that undeniable reality is making regulators in Brussels consider a very controversial idea.
Right. The European Union is debating whether they should water down their strict competition rules.
Yes. The theory is, if they allow older legacy companies to merge into giant supercorporations, maybe they can finally compete with American and Chinese tech giants.
But the Economist outright rejects this. They call it the merger misconception.
What's fascinating here is why it fails. Scaling up artificially by relaxing rules does not automatically create innovation.
It is like trying to win a Formula One race by taping 2 old station wagons together.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, you technically have a bigger car, but you don't have the high-performance engine you actually need for speed.
Exactly. To get real breakthroughs, you need dynamic environments. You need huge pools of software talent.
And a culture that rewards high-risk innovation.
Right. Slapping 2 slow, bureaucratic European companies together just makes one bigger, slower company. It actually hurts the startup culture Europe needs so badly.
It makes perfect sense. It's like 2 people are having a bitter, exhausted fight in the front yard over the price of gas.
Right.
While the neighbor is quietly building a sci-fi spaceship in the garage, and Europe is just looking out the window wondering if they should change their homeowner rules to catch up.
That is exactly what is happening. Meanwhile, the private sector is not waiting for governments to figure this out.
No, the reporting highlights that Amazon is placing a massive gamble on AI right now.
Yes, they are restructuring their entire e-commerce business to fight off next-generation threats.
So the corporate world knows the real battleground is an AI future, even while the politicians are focused on a shooting war in the Gulf.
Corporate power is shifting just as violently as global borders right now.
So to summarize all this for you, the listener, we are living in a highly compressed moment in history.
Yes, we are.
A single, narrow geographic choke point like the Strait of Hormuz can trigger global inflation. It can weaponize the drinking water of millions.
And at the exact same time, it gives tech rivals like China the perfect distraction to quietly sprint ahead toward 6G brain chips.
While the U.S. is busy looking the other way.
It completely destroys the old idea that events are isolated. A drone strike on a water plant in the Middle East affects a boardroom in Seattle within hours.
Everything is vibrating with tension right now.
It really is.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. After reading about all this intense geopolitical stress, the source material offers a surprisingly grounded palate cleanser.
A palate cleanser. From The Economist.
Yeah. They highlight recent research about cognitive resilience, basically how to protect your brain during high-stress periods.
Oh, that is fascinating. So what do they suggest?
They focus on the neurological benefits of complex leisure activities, specifically playing a musical instrument or sitting down for a game of mahjong.
Mahjong, that tile game.
Exactly. It turns out that playing mahjong isn't just a cultural pastime. It is basically heavy resistance training for your brain.
Really? How so?
Well, it forces your mind to use rapid pattern recognition and strategic foresight. Plus, it involves a lot of nuanced social interaction.
That makes a lot of sense. So it acts as a buffer against all the chronic stress from the news.
Exactly. It is scientifically validated to help with cognitive fatigue. So in a world spiraling into chaos, an hour at the mahjong table might be the perfect workout your brain needs to keep perspective.
I love that. It is a vital reminder that we need to actively build our own personal resilience, even while we analyze these massive global shocks.
Definitely. But before we close out this deep dive, you had one final historical parallel from the reporting, right?
I do. And it perfectly frames everything we've talked about today.
Lay it on us.
One of the deeper articles drew a direct comparison between the current economic state of the United States and the fate of the ancient Roman denarius.
The denarius, that was the standard silver coin of the Roman Empire, right?
Correct. During Rome's decline, they found themselves militarily overextended. They were fighting on too many distant fronts.
Just like America right now.
Right, and Rome was facing huge domestic expenses and unrest at home. So, to pay for all these endless wars, the empire slowly debased the denarius.
Meaning they made the money worth less.
Yes. They secretly reduced the actual silver content in the coins, but pretended the value was the same.
Oh, wow. So that triggered inflation.
Massive inflation. It shattered international faith in their currency and ultimately led to the collapse of their economic dominance.
That is a chilling comparison. When you map that historical template onto the US today,
It fits perfectly, doesn't it?
it really does. You see a superpower stretched to the breaking point, trying to defend fragile water plants in the Middle East.
You see a domestic economy challenged by rebounding inflation and national debt.
And you see an unprecedented tech challenge from China.
Which leaves us with a deeply provocative question for you to ponder.
What is it?
Are we currently witnessing the modern, digitized equivalent of debasing the denarius? With the global system in such a state of shock, is this crisis the beginning of the end for U.S. dollar dominance?
Wow. That is a massive paradigm-shifting question to chew on.
Just like the Roman denarius eventually collapsed.
Yeah. And it perfectly illustrates why understanding these messy connections is so critical. The old rules are broken, and the new rules are being written in real time.
They absolutely are.
Thank you for joining us on this custom-tailored deep dive today.
Yes, thank you for listening.
Keep questioning the headlines, keep looking for the hidden mechanisms driving the chaos, and maybe go play a game of mahjong. We will catch you next time.